if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
Very fine people on both sides. You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's that's a lie that they're conscious of.
G'day everybody, welcome to the show. Have you ever felt like you're not getting all the information you should be about something, anything? Well, tonight we're talking about censorship. So welcome to the show. I'm Pinky, and as always, we have Grumpy.
Good evening, it's great to see you all. Interesting week, eh? A lot of censorship happening. And that's
Absolutely.
our topic for today.
Yep.
And we actually went out and saw a movie, didn't we?
We did.
We actually saw a movie instead of just playing trailers. So
yep. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, we watched the trailer for Abigail, and Grumpy said, I would never watch a movie like that. I'm too scared. Blah, blah. Well, we went and watched it, didn't we?
I'm terrible at horror movies, so... Yeah,
but we'll talk about that later.
Wait for our reviews. Anyway,
more pressing topic at the moment.
Let's get a bit serious now, because we've had a bit of issue with the Australian censorship, and particular with Julie Inman Grant.
Yes,
right. She's the Commissioner of eSafety, which is a group in the Australian government which basically censors people. And just to have a look what she looks like. By the way, full disclosure, you may have noticed my background's a little bit different than usual, because I usually have the blinds like Pinky. Well, our producer has been taken away in the divvy van. No, just kidding.
It's been censored.
He's been censored. No, unfortunately he's a bit busy tonight, so we don't have him. So I have to control the buttons as well as trying to have a conversation with Pinky. So it's going to be interesting. If I have some technical difficulties, it's Pinky's fault. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Not my fault. So to start off with...
And to all you lady viewers, as you know, men can't multitask. So this will be interesting.
I actually used to multitask really well, because my ex-wife, I used to listen to her and ignore her at the same time. I was really good at that. Anyway, back to the show. This is Julie Inman Grant, whatever. She basically controls, or trying to control speech here in Australia. She's, like I said, she's part of the eSafety Commission. And at the moment, they're in a bit of a battle with X.
They are indeed. So you may remember from a few episodes ago, we talked about Billboard Chris and his incident with Teddy Cook, the trans UN representative.
That's right,
who is also in control of a lot of content for the trans community, and is also a member of the WHO. So you may remember there was some issues there with X and a post, she actually came to X and asked them to remove that post, which I believe they did, and then they put it back up again. I'm not sure if it's still up there at the moment, but that's going to be a court case coming up soon. So we've already got round one. Like, there's probably other little incidents, but we probably class that as round one, I suppose, between the Australian government and Elon Musk. And now we're at round two with a new incident, which is in regards to the recent stabbing in Sydney at the church. So that's kind of where we're at the moment with that.
Yeah, there's been a couple of stabbings, so it happened, and we reported that over the last week or so. And there's been a couple of stabbings, and that really pushed the censorship a lot further. All of a sudden, everybody's jumping up and down, including Dutton. You've got both parties now pushing for censorship. I'm a free speech type of guy, and I believe if you don't like something, scroll past it. Yeah. And the great thing, something like Twitter, or X now, they do have content warnings. Because we had that horrible incident over the weekend where in the US, that dude set himself on fire. Yeah, correct. Yeah, in front of Trump's trial. And that was broadcast everywhere. It was all over my Twitter file. My X feed. But that had content warning. So the whole screen was blurred out. It had the big sign saying content warning. If you wanted to watch it yourself. Yeah. And on top of that, people were putting graphic content, beware as well. So that's up to you if you want to see it or not.
Yeah, that's right. I agree totally. I think, when it comes to free speech, it's all or nothing, in my view, because as soon as you start censoring, anything on the internet that's in a free speech platform, where do you draw the line? And, that's the issue, is whoever's in control at the time has control over the content. In this case, it's Elon Musk. If he wants to start censoring things, he could, but he's another free speech advocate, so he's really going to be, I can't see him going out there and censoring things just because he doesn't like it, whether he agrees with it or not. Which
I've mentioned it before. He's basically, as hyperbolic as it may be, he's the saviour of the world at the moment for free speech. He's fighting in Brazil. He's fighting in Australia, all for us to have the right to speak.
Yeah,
it's simple as that. Sadly, in Australia, we don't have the First Amendment. In fact, as far as I'm aware of, the US is the only country that has that in the Constitution, free speech.
Yeah. Which,
in my opinion, needs to be in every constitution of every country.
Yeah, I would agree. Should be the first rule. Well, we've always been a bit of a nanny state when it comes to that sort of stuff. We like to control, content here in Australia and what people see and read. Well, that's been ongoing for quite some time. It's not a new thing. What disappoints me at the moment with all of this is that it's been brought to the forefront again, but this time they're using, in my view, the wrong topics. Like that's an important topic that people need to know about. People want to understand what happened. So censoring that topic is not the way to go. And now it feels like the media are using this as,
a springboard.
Yeah, basically to now push for freedom of speech on behalf of the government, because the entire government is on board with this.
And that's scary.
Yeah,
there's actually no one there to defend us.
Yeah, there's a few senators the government might consider to be loose cannons that are still standing up for free speech. We could probably list half a dozen.
Yeah.
But it's really across the board. 95% of all politicians are on board with this and want free speech. It just gives them the same opportunity to control, the environment when they're in power.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, because no party can stand up now and say no to this and then insist on it later, because it just, it won't work that way.
We, off camera, just before we started the show, we watched a clip from the project, and they were in defence of the censorship.
Yeah. Do
these people not know that it'll come after them eventually?
Oh, for sure. That's what I'm saying. So you've got the media, but when you watch that clip from the project, the way they portray it is like the whole thing was a bunch of lies and misinformation, and we need to stop people from getting this misinformation, and that's not what it was. It was graphic content, and it's up to you if you want to watch it. You could read you could read whatever's posted with it and not watch the video. But that doesn't make it misinformation. It actually happened. That's the frustrating part to that,
Remember in last week's episode when we were talking about the stabbings, at one stage they were saying that the stabber was a Jew.
Yeah.
So that was incorrectly broadcast. Then the dudes on the escalator, they were supposed to be Russian. That was, I wouldn't call that misinformation or disinformation. It was just incorrect at the time from what they were getting. But it was very, very quickly fixed.
Corrected,
within hours.
Yeah.
I reckon that people were getting onto it and saying, that's not right, that's been fixed up. Imagine if that was censored right from the start and they were only allowing us to hear what they wanted us to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I just don't get it. Yeah.
No, I don't either. Yeah. But you've got, what's the New South Wales Police Commissioner's name?
Butler, is it? Is it Butler?
Karen Webb.
Oh, okay, not even close.
Yeah, Karen Webb, I think, is the New South Wales Police
Who's
Commissioner.
Butler then? He's he's the health department.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the health department.
Yeah, so she put out a statement saying that people should only listen to the police for the truth, and if you want the truth and you want to know what's happening, you should only listen to the police and nobody else. And it just reminded me of Jacinta, our old friend Jacinta in New Zealand. Because remember through COVID, she said the same thing. She said, we're the only people that are giving the truth to all. And look at how that turned out.
Yeah, correct.
So if you go back to that period in time with COVID and the amount of control that censorship had, you can't imagine that it's gotten any better.
Right. You can't have the government telling you what misinformation, disinformation is.
Yeah.
They don't get to say what is right and wrong.
Yeah.
In that sense, that's up to us to determine. We need to be able to hear and say, okay, now I've heard both sides of the story. It's time to make my judgment on what I've heard.
Exactly.
And which is a huge issue during COVID because there was so much information out there that they censored.
Yeah.
And it was the media that was censoring. It was the government that was censoring. And a lot of people died because of that issue.
Yeah.
A lot of things that we find out that were being censored, like ivermectin, that turns out could have saved up to 85% of the deaths in the early stages. As soon as they were, what was it, preventative or something? It wasn't preventative. It was, in the early stages when they first, get the symptoms,
yep.
if they'd taken ivermectin, it would have helped them a lot. Because Joe Rogan took it, Tim Pool and a bunch of other celebrities.
Yeah.
And they felt rubbish for, a week, and then, they felt heaps better.
Yeah. I know a few people that were going to, but it sold out.
Yeah.
It sold out all over the place.
And they, and then the media turned around and said it was horse dewormer.
Yeah, that's right.
And they all pushed it. So, which was, to me, it's misinformation because, yes, it's being used as a horse dewormer, but it actually won the Nobel Peace Prize for how effective it was for the human population. And that's been administered over 1 billion times since 1969. That's when it was approved.
Yep.
So it's been around for a little while.
Yeah.
And they say it's second to penicillin in saving lives.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
Great statistic. Yeah, but we see this all the time. And how many times have you seen the government retract statements, or the media particularly retract statements? And they do the same thing every time. They sensationalise this, whatever the topic is.
Correct.
And they're wrong. And it's like I've said to you before, when it's right, it's on the front of the Herald Sun, and when it's wrong, it's a little article on page 47.
Yeah.
And that's how they retract. And then people are walking around thinking that whatever they saw on the front page is still the story.
Yeah,
it's still correct.
They do stealth editing,
Yeah.
where they won't announce anything, make the adjustments.
Yeah, it's that whole race to be first thing again.
Yeah. How many times do you read a story then go back?
Oh,
Never.
Very rarely. Very rarely.
I never. Once I've read it.
Well, you and I might a little bit because we like journalistic content, so it's interesting to go back and see the result of something that we saw. But most people, no, most people wouldn't. They will run with that same story. You'll be asking them a year later, and they'll say, "No, it happened like this." That was what was on the front page. Meanwhile, there are people who know that that's not what really happened, and that's again, like I said, it's that race to be first.
Yeah. And the majority of people will just read the headline as well.
Yeah.
And especially when it's on your Facebook feed or Twitter feed, X, whatever, your social media feed. You'll read the headline, and go, "Oh, okay," and then just keep on scrolling.
Yeah. Yep. Or maybe a paragraph in, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So where are we at with all this eSafety stuff? So what's happening with the suing? Who's being sued? What's going on?
Well, I believe that they are suing Elon Musk for having the image up, and I think there's a fine of, I think it's about $785,000 a day ongoing till the image has been taken down. So I believe that was the intention, they would sue him. Now he's pulled the image down until it goes to court, but I think he's now attempting to sue them. So
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see the results of all these things. The thing is, these are landmark cases. That's what people don't understand. They just, I've talked to people in the last day or two about this situation, and they're like, "Oh yeah, some tech giant suing some government."
Yeah.
They don't see these are landmark cases, because if the government wins, that's it. The gloves are off. They can do whatever they like. They can take control of everything and anything because they've proven in court that they have the power to do that. Whereas if Elon Musk wins, well, then there's an opportunity for free speech to stay in the forefront of society.
Because, like I said earlier, we don't have the First Amendment. We don't have the freedom of speech in our Constitution. So every time it goes to court, we have to fight for it.
Yeah.
It's not embedded there. It's, okay, I want to talk, let's go to court.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. There's a few landmark cases going on at the moment. One we'll touch on in another episode, but is the Tickle versus Giggle. So people need to, I know it's a horrible name, isn't it? But people need to look that up. Look up Tickle versus Giggle and get your head around what's going on with that, because that's, again, it's that relates to the woke and the trans side of the community and what's happening with that, and stemming back to a legal case now where they're trying to define what is a woman. So if that's the sort of thing that interests you, you need to keep an eye on that, because that is, the whole world is watching that. You know, it's funny, I speak to people in Australia, they've never even heard of this case, and it's happening here in Australia. It's an Australian case. And then you talk to anybody internationally, they're all like, yeah, we're all watching to see what happens. But here in the country that it's happening in, nobody knows about it. So look that up and do your homework on that.
It just shows you how much coverage it's getting in Australia.
Oh,
then.
zero. Because the media are afraid of it getting out.
Yeah, it could be a bit detrimental to their narrative.
Totally.
It's a bit scary.
Yep.
Now, who is Julie? Now, Julie's been around in Australia for quite a long time, I found out, because I think the first time I saw her was about a year ago in a news article. I don't think it was Channel 10, because I try and avoid Channel 10. And the first thing I noticed is she has an American accent. And I thought, oh, okay, she's in the Australian government and she's, a Yank.
Yeah.
But it turns out, and I've got a list of some on my fact sheet here, so I don't want to screw up. I just want to, make sure we're all correct on some of the information that I hunted down. Now, she studied computer science, then dropped down and studied international relations in uni. This is going back in to the 1990s. So she's been around, like I said, quite a while, and then she ended up in Washington, D.C. So she was part of the government, worked for them there, part of US Congress, a lot of it in the non-profit sector, raising money, and also non-profit organisations helping. So she has that save the world attitude.
So you mean, so things like Doctors Without Morals and WHO, stuff like that?
That's right, yeah. WHO and WEF, we'll get to them very shortly.
Okay, yep.
And then it was about that time, which was about the mid-1990s, where she was recruited by Microsoft to be a lobbyist for them. And so she did that for a couple of years, then eventually got a job at Microsoft, and she was there for a good 13 years. And that's how she ended up in Australia. So we're talking maybe late 90s, early 2000s, where she came to Australia. And she came to Australia as a philanthropy, government relations and industries affairs. I have no idea what that means, but she was doing it. Yeah, so she did that for a little while. And this is the period of time when she's working for Microsoft that she started seeing the issues that technology was having on people and the damage it was creating. And one of the things she noticed as well, that it wasn't always the company's fault. It was just a byproduct of the technology and the way people were using it.
Same, she worked at Adobe as well, didn't she?
Yeah, for very short. I think that was one of her earliest.
Similar role. Yeah.
Correct, yeah. It was after that she decided to bring the whole idea of safety by design to Microsoft. So she's already starting to think about how to control what's being let out there into the world. Be it the software, be it the way it's presented and that type of thing. So eventually, after she realised she was going to affect change anymore, or she wasn't going to affect any more change, she couldn't go any further, she left. So she moved on from Microsoft and then returned back to the USA. Back in 2012, she returned to Australia again. Now, this time when she came to Australia, she did some consulting for the government, apparently a few other businesses as well. If you have any information, let me know, because I'd love to know if there's any more, background story to her, because I found it fascinating, finding out a bit of history. And then in 2014, started working for Twitter. Obviously, way before Musk bought it.
Yep.
I was thinking of Elon Musk. Is it Elon Musk, or is it, what are those names?
Elon Musk.
Yeah, I had to think. That's what I wrote earlier. Elon Musk. Yeah.
Electric Jesus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, the reason she started working for Twitter, and I quote, I was so convinced of the company's potential for positive social change that I went to work there. Then very, very shortly later, she left because I could no longer defend the company. I don't know what happened. In the couple of articles that I read about that the interviews she didn't explain why. She just basically said, "Can't wait for the company. Oh, can't wait to get out of the company." That type of thing. So she was gone. Yeah. And then in 2017, that was when Julie was recruited to eSafety, and she took over. And just recently, 2020 or 22, she had a contract renewed for another 5 years. So we can expect her around for another 3 years. Yeah. Now, very shortly after that, get ready for this, and this will probably make a whole lot of sense. In 2020, WEF, the World Economic Forum, and Apolitical appointed Julie as one of the Agile 50, the world's most influential leaders in government, changing government. So she's right in there with WEF.
Yep.
So it kind of all makes sense, doesn't it?
Oh,
all
for
the
sure.
censorship and,
it's all tied together.
Yeah, the way she does everything now, it really, comes together. And under her leadership, eSafety has joined forces with the White House Gender Policy Council and Government of Denmark on global partnership for action on gender-based harassment and abuse. So all the hallmarks are there.
Yeah.
It's all happening there. So
wasn't she actually friends with Terry Cook?
Yeah, they were buddies.
Yeah.
And that's why there was that big thing that we reported about, a couple of weeks ago, about the fact that she was protecting him.
Yeah.
Because she was the one that was trying to remove all the posts regarding young Terry.
Yep.
Or old Terry, I don't know. I can't tell.
I don't know. Middle-aged Terry.
Yeah. So, yeah, she comes across very self-righteous to me. She wants to save the world. But in doing so, you've got to do it my way.
Yeah.
I'm going to save you, but you have no say in it.
Yeah, well, it's condescending. You have no idea how to do this, so I'll do it for you, kind of thing. Yeah.
But who sets misinformation and disinformation?
Well,
Who controls? Who says what's right and wrong?
Well, people like her in that role. That's part of her role, is to distinguish those things and make those rules of what's right and wrong. Yeah.
So that one person now controls what we can hear.
I'm sure she has a committee of people, but I'm sure they're all, influenced by what she decides.
They're all yes people.
Yeah, I would say so,
Yeah.
like most government departments.
Yeah.
And then if she's part of the Agile 50, well, she already has her own agenda.
In June 2023, she actually started attacking X, and I think Elon Musk had just bought that. Didn't he take over like October 22 or something?
Yeah, somewhere around
there. Yeah. And it just happened to coincide with Elon taking over and then reinstating over 60,000 accounts. Because a lot of them were wrongly deplatformed.
Yeah.
Because of the political bias of Twitter at that stage. So Elon basically said, okay, everybody come back on the platform. We still have rules. You still have to abide by them. You can't have hate speech. You can't be nasty to each other. But you get the freedom of speech of being able to say, well, whatever political views you have. Yeah. So, and that's a good thing. Now, at about the same time, we had GLAAD, which is GLAAD, and the Anti-Defamation League. They reported there was an increase of abusive issues on Twitter around that same stage. Now, if you don't know who GLAAD is, GLAAD was formed back in 1989, and they're the Gay Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, which is a great cause. There's nothing wrong with that.
Totally
it's a
agree.
good cause.
Totally agree.
But we know how biased these alliances have become over the last few years. So I don't put a lot of stock into it. And some of the reports, let me just set this up, see if I can get this right. Yes, I'm trying to do 25 different things at once here. Now, this is the report that eSafety brought out, and they brought out an infographic. And this is some of the things that some of the issues rather that were reported to them. after a study. 42% of the hate speech was coming from received repeated unwanted messages. What is that? That is so vague.
I would say that they're abusive messages from one person to another. So,
You
know,
think?
calling someone something. Yeah, I would say so. And repeatedly. Like, it's probably someone that you're targeting. So I can imagine that. I can see what that really refers to.
Yeah. For me, it's a bit vague, because how did they do the survey? Did they say, are you getting, unwanted messages? Does that refer to spam? And does it refer to advertising as well?
I think it's more specific than that.
Do you think?
I think
then
so.
Why didn't they
in its context.
Yeah. But they didn't do it very specific in, well, the little question there. Receiving repeated unwanted messages. That's very vague.
Yeah, but you've also got to remember that a lot of this stuff is intentionally vague.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they can, put a lot of things under the same banner. They don't want to be overly specific because then they've tied their own hands.
And they can be sued if they're very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
Or they can't take, that's quite a broad umbrella. If they then say, it's really just in reference to, people who were in a relationship together before and now they're sending each other nasty messages, then all of a sudden everything else that falls in the same category can't be addressed. Whereas if they make it really broad, then it gives them a much bigger scope to work with. But I know what you're saying. I mean, I should be reporting every phone call I get. I get 15 phone calls a day of spam.
But to me, it's so vague that it seems to me, okay, 42% of the people have reported that. They've clumped together a whole bunch of different issues into one and made it vague. So how much of that is actually hate speech?
Well, you're right, because I guess I'm looking at it from the perspective of what would it have actually been. You're looking at it from the perspective of gathering statistics.
Exactly.
So I guess we're looking at it from two different angles, but you're right, because I'm not really looking at it from the same angle as you, but you're right. That's if you can, it's like how many people have walked through a doorway. It's like, well, we've all walked through a doorway, so all of a sudden we have this statistic on how many people have walked through doorways. So it can be as vague as you like. Well, what sort of, do you mean a front door, a bedroom door, a toilet door? A door at a train station. What's the specific? So all of a sudden, it's such a broad.
What are you trying to do? What type of study are you trying to find?
Yeah.
Is it a public building or is it a personal building?
Yeah. If you don't break it down enough, you're going to end up with statistics like that.
Yeah, because when you look at this graph and you see 42%, and you see how high it is, you go, oh no, that's terrible.
And because that's how it works, because it just worked on me.
Yeah,
there you
exactly.
go. I'm sitting here thinking, nasty messages that people send. Wow, that's a big statistic. So the statistics work. So whatever they actually looked at is irrelevant. That graph there is what gives them the power.
That's my point. That's my point, because that's almost half of the complaints are saying that they were repeated unwanted messages.
Yeah.
Like you said, yes, I don't doubt there's a whole bunch of nasty messages and stalking messages and that type of thing.
Yep.
But I guarantee a lot of it included your spam, your advertising, all that type of thing. Because to me, they're unwanted messages as well.
I get them all day. Even if you look aside the spam, I get emails all day trying to sell me products. Okay. So would you bundle that in?
Yeah, correct. And, okay, let's assume 42%, let's assume that 30% of that, or no, let's make it higher. Let's make it 60% of that 42% were actual hate. That would make that bar go down quite a fair bit. So it doesn't look as bad. So when you look at the graph, you go, okay, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But they've lumped so much into that one question.
So how would you word it differently, excluding marketing or something like that?
Receiving. I don't know. I suppose you can use hate or.
Well, why can't they put threatening or something?
Yeah,
receiving repeated threatening unwanted messages.
Exactly. That's even better. That would narrow it down, and that would be, I think,
more genuine.
Yeah, more genuine, plus have a bigger impact.
Yeah.
Because when you know precisely how much of it is really nasty, you're going to react to it. To me, I look at that, and I went through. There's a whole bunch of different pages, big numbers, 42%, and all that type of thing. I looked at it, and the first thing I noticed, that's pretty nasty graph. As soon as I read it, I thought, Now you're fudging the numbers.
Yeah. Which is typical. Yeah.
This is misinformation coming from eSafety. Ka-ching.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the type of stuff that drives me up the wall. If you're going to give us data, stats, we need to be genuine about it so we can make informed decisions.
Well, hang on. Let's go back a step, though. So what we're saying is addressed, because if you look at the third row, the 14%, it's target of hate speech.
Target of hate speech,
Yeah, which is what we're saying. Yeah. So really, when you think about it, that received repeat, and this is where it works. Like I said, that first one really probably is in reference to spam and email and what have you. But if you're not paying that much attention, you just read that and go, "Oh crap!" Because that was the first place my head went. Was 42% of people are receiving nasty messages from people they know. It was my first reaction without even getting to the rest yet. So it's already set the vibe of how I'm going to take.
It's done what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, it's had its effect, even though it has. Because then they could turn around and go, "Oh no, that's not what we meant." Because if you look further down, target of hate speech 14%. We put that in there, you know.
But it's hidden, right?
Yeah,
further up.
Well, it's not so much that it's hidden, but it's the effect is, you know, again, the first thing you see, the first column, you take that as a massive negative.
It actually has an asterisk next to it.
I wonder what that's in reference to.
I'll scroll down and have a look in a sec.
But how does the second one play into any of this?
The device infected with virus and malware.
So, yeah, well, I guess because eSafety isn't really just about the way that it's being portrayed at the moment is that eSafety is all about censoring content from peer to peer sort of thing, or you know what the average person is putting around there. But eSafety covers a lot more than that, obviously, just by what we're just breaking down from those first two columns. You know, 17% device effect with virus and malware. If that's something that's on their radar, then they're not just talking about hate speech. It's obviously about a lot of other stuff online.
More people complain about their device being infected by virus and malware than they did hate speech.
Well, there you go. It just shows you that it's not as big a deal as they're making it sound. I mean, the dark purple one is great. Called offensive names. Like...
Things said to provoke an argument. Unwanted, inappropriate content. What's that one? 13%?
Pornography and violent content.
Yeah. Online fraud. Called offensive names. Oh, I should be going to jail for that one. Electronically tracked by someone. Misuse of personal information, e.g. identities shared online.
See, I feel like even if the statistics are correct, they should have put that graph the other way around, because probably... You prioritise the first thing you see, which is the unwanted messages, but really the priority there is the misuse of personal information. And they've put that as the last column, like it's there. And there's also this. It's like it should be the first thing. You know what I mean? It feels like that whole thing is skew.
Out of all of them, what do you think is probably the worst case?
As in the most effectively...
The nastiest out of all of them.
I reckon, to be honest, I honestly believe the misuse of personal information, because the rest of it, all the stuff that I look at on there, or the online fraud, I suppose, really comes into the same sort of genre. But all those other things to me are like, well, in fact, there's three, because electronically tracked by someone is not good. But that's probably the three, between those three. And the rest to me are just trivial. Target of hate speech. And what do you mean by target? I mean, are we talking a barrage of comments, or are we talking someone sent me a nasty message one day? You know, your parents should have raised you better, made you a bit harder.
Well, I tell you, this unwanted inappropriate content, the amount of cheeky babes that are sending their, their
bits and bobs.
Yeah, exactly. Every day I get a couple of those little videos. I'm forever deleting those friend requests.
Well, where are you going?
Thank you very much,
stuff?
Facebook. I don't even know why.
Oh, you talking about the friend requests? Oh.
Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from.
I never had any, and then I reckon somehow about a month ago, I'm getting one or two a day.
Yeah.
It's just something's changed somewhere. I'm getting one or two a day now of these, and they're usually a brand new Facebook account. There's one or two photos of a girl, because the first few times I was like, how do I know that person? So then I go to their profile, I'm like, oh.
the fact that she's laying there, got her booty sticking up.
Yeah, so I haven't had too many of those. And most of the ones that I've been getting are just some pretty girl in her 20s, you know, but they're not usually pornographic or anything. So you're like, oh, is this a friend of one of my kids or someone else? But why are they sending me a friend request? So then I go to see who it is, and then you see their profile picture, which is, you know, just the girl next door. Then you scroll down. There's only 3 photos in the whole damn page, and the next 2 are with bits and bobs sticking out. Like, how's that allowed on Facebook? You've got to be 13 to be on Facebook, right? So at 13 or 14 years of age, you've got access to all this stuff.
Yeah, correct.
The one that drives me crazy is when I go onto Facebook Marketplace, and in between all the car stuff, I'm looking for car parts, and then in between it, there's someone's, you know, and then some girl, and I'm like, what's that doing in my marketplace? And then I always report it, and then it doesn't show anymore. But how is that even there? It's Facebook.
Well, my Facebook page is purely business, and I don't use it for anything else. Nothing at all. And I don't know if they're targeting because of the amount of followers I've got, because I've got a few thousand on it, or they're just randomly, if they see a male profile image, they're, you know, just sending a friend request there.
Yeah. My wife got one the other day. So this is when
Was it from a bloke or a girl?
Yeah, from a bloke, which is really, that's what I was going to say. It's really unusual because normally, like everyone I talk to, it's usually guys, and they've got some girl has popped up and said, you know, oh, I think you're really good looking, and I always, you know, I like guys like you. I've been following your content. And you seem so nice. Blah blah blah. Would you friend me? Da 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 da. But it's usually a girl, and it's sent to, you know, guys that I know, see them all the time. I get them from time to time. My wife got one. First time I've ever seen one where the genders were reversed.
Yeah. Were you jealous?
Yes. No. But it wasn't sent directly to her. It's really weird because I've got a Facebook group, and there was a post in my Facebook group, and someone had made a reply to that post, and then this person replied to my wife.
Yeah.
Right, so basically I've got a Facebook group, put up a post, my wife's jumped on and go, oh, this is great, whatever, well done. And then someone's replied to her in that little group post saying, oh, I think you're really nice, I like you, I've been watching you, blah, blah, blah. First one I've seen where the genders are reversed. But this, it sounds like we're going on a segue, because you know me, the segue king, like every episode, but I'm not actually going on a segue. What I'm saying is people like, or organisations like Facebook, they're all about controlling content. They're all about, you can't see this and you can't see that, and we shouldn't let you know about this going on over here in this country, but we're happy to let you watch all the porn you like on a site like Facebook where there isn't supposed to be any. Are these, you know, we have this illusion, obviously they're bots and AI and whatever that control all this stuff these days, but we have this illusion of a guy sitting in an office going, oh, you can't put that up. Oh, you can't put that up either. Right? Is that same guy going, don't worry about the porn. Is it, you know, this, you shouldn't be talking about that. You shouldn't be talking about this. Oh, more porn. Oh, don't worry about the porn. The porn's fine. The porn's fine. You know, you have that sort of illusion of that going on in the background of sitting in an office and just, you know, it's like, oh, we'll worry about the porn later. Right now, I've got to stop this guy from talking about this issue and that issue. And so there's all this censorship. There's so much damn censorship.
Yeah.
Why can't you censor porn on Facebook?
Correct. And this is the thing that drives me nuts, is the fact that they seem to be a lot more lenient on Facebook, even though they keep on coming out with reports of Facebook is, you know, rubbish, it's got too much porn on it and blah, blah, blah. And when they accused the J6 rioters of actually communicating to each other on Twitter at that stage, in fact, it was on Facebook, because they had groups on Facebook.
Yep.
Yet they attack him, but they don't attack him with the same severity as they do now with Elon Musk at the helm of that ship. You know, it's very biased, the way, you know, even with the censorship. They're trying to control censorship, but only some people.
Yep.
Oh. Well. Anyway, so we just spoke to a ghost the whole time.
That's okay. That's okay.
Technicalities. Yeah. But I actually
there's a lot of people that like looking at me.
Yeah, the missus.
Well, one person then.
I just want to play a quick video of something that our amazing eSafety Commissioner said fairly recently, and it's scary as all hell, to be quite honest. And let's have a listen to this. If I can start.
The attacks at the Fairfield Church yesterday.
What are the consequences following up if they don't remove?
Well, we have a range of graduated powers. There could be civil proceedings, and we could take them to court, or we could fine them. Of course, the quantum of the fine would depend on the gravity of the noncompliance, but we can use graduated tools like link deletion notices. So if they fail to remove the content, then we can go to the search engines such as Google or Bing to really minimize the amount of content the Australians can see. To really minimize the amount of content the Australians can see.
And how much time do they have to remove this content?
We expect them to remove this expeditiously within the next 24 hours. We know that every minute counts, and the more this content is up there, the more that is reshared, the more the velocity and the virality continues, and we need to stem that.
You do have powers to remove this content if it's not actioned on by these companies. Are you prepared to use those powers if they don't come to the table?
We've already just issued a notice to X Corp to use these formal removal powers. We will be issuing notices to Meta today.
Okay.
Well, we won't show that.
Yeah, no, we won't show that because that's pretty great.
People have seen enough of that already.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. We're making an informed decision to not show that.
Yeah.
And when that content comes up, you can make an informed decision on whether or not you want to watch it.
Exactly. You can go on Twitter, you can hunt it down. If you want to see it, you can see it.
And
but that's the great thing. It's your choice.
Correct. And the responsible thing is to give graphic content warnings, which is in my view is all you need to do, because whether you want to watch it or not, it's up to you. It's that whole, I might not agree with what you say, but I'll fight for your right to say it. It's a
correct.
It's a very powerful words, and that's exactly how it should be. We all think that certain groups are nutcases, like the flat earthers, and but they're allowed to say what they want.
Leave my friends alone. Don't bring
That's
them
why I
into
brought
this.
them up, because I know they're your mates. But you can be a Nazi supporter. You can be anything you want, right? One of the important things about freedom of speech is that it brings those things into focus for other people as well, like to know that certain organisations exist, certain views are still shared amongst people. It's important for the average person to know that, because you wouldn't even know. Like I've met people that are neo-Nazis in Victoria, and they're terrible people, but you wouldn't even know there's a neo-Nazi movement in Victoria if people didn't bring that to your attention. So freedom of speech is important on so many different levels, and to just say no, people shouldn't be exposed, so we can't let people see that, it's wrong on a lot of levels. And one of those levels is that it's very presumptuous that you can't handle the truth, but it's very presumptuous that that's they act like they're doing it on your behalf.
Yeah, correct. And that's the issue, isn't it? They're saying, okay, I'm going to control what you hear, see, read, whatever. That's not up to them. It's not their business.
Correct.
And the thing is, this has been happening for a long time. They've been chipping away, moving those goalposts, chipping away a little bit further, and a little bit more, to the point now, look where we are now.
Yeah.
And it's people like us, and I want everybody to get out there and start talking about it. I want to have conversations. People need to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Because if they don't make an effort to understand or even enact on, anything that's going on, we're going to end up in a point where we have no autonomy whatsoever.
Yeah.
It'll all be gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're too close to it now. This is scary for me. Being an old fart that I am, I remember the days where we didn't have this type of censorship. Sure, we didn't have social media, and social media, the internet, is always going to have a percentage of it where it's nasty. You can't change that.
Yeah.
It's anything. You live in a city. There's that small, crime element in the city, or be it suburbs or whatever. Your suburban gangs. You're always going to have a portion of bad people. You can't get away from it.
Yep.
You can control it to a point, but you can't say, okay, I want to control this, but I'm going to take away your rights because I want to control something else.
Yeah, which is what the play is, especially here right now with this. So like we said at the head of the show, they're using the angle that they're protecting us from having to see this content, But when you listen to the rhetoric, it's not actually even about that.
Yeah.
They're not actually saying we're protecting you from seeing this. We're protecting you from the lies. We're protecting you from the misinformation. There was, as far as I'm aware, the only two pieces of misinformation regarding the stabbing were the ones you mentioned earlier about who the person was that. Well, that was actually about the stabbing in Sydney. I'm referring the shopping centre. I'm referring to, not the church one, where someone had said, he's a particular race and he's a particular whatever. So, but that was all addressed very quickly. But other than those two things, I don't think anything else there has been misinformation or lies. And the same with the church one, which is what this one's actually about, is the church one. They're not lies. That's actual video footage of what actually happened. It's not like somebody made that up in some AI program and put it out there. There needed to be a lie, and I go, fair enough. You need to get that crap off the air.
That was a perfect example of something going out there that was wrong, and people jumping on it straight away and correcting it.
Yeah,
they fixed it straight away. You had Avi Yemeni, who straight away jumped on that and said he was not Jewish.
Yeah,
and Channel 7 actually reported that these dudes were Russian. So you got a major network saying incorrect information. But like I said, it was corrected very, very quickly. And that's the power of free speech.
So the actual stuff that they're trying to take down from X now, which is footage from the church stabbing, is there anything in there that's still incorrect, like is actually false information? Or is it... I don't believe there is.
I think one of their... one of the reasons they want to take it down is they don't want to incite other stabbings.
Then just say
copycat,
that. Then say that. Don't make it about false information and misinformation. Say the truth. We want to take this down because it could incite violence. That's a great reason to take it down. But use that angle. Don't make it about make it out that it's a lie.
See, I still don't agree with that because I don't think they should be taking it down. They should maybe enforce. Not necessarily enforce, sorry, wrong word. They should push the content warning. Make sure that they say, okay, you have to have content warning on this. We won't take it down, but have
I'm still not saying they should take it down. Sorry, don't misunderstand me. I'm still not saying they should take it down. What I'm saying is if they're going to push an angle, that's the angle they should push, not the lies, because people are going to see straight through that. This is the problem. They trip over their own feet sometimes. They're making it all about misinformation. There's no misinformation in there. It's actual footage from an event. So if they were in my view, let's play devil's advocate. If I was in their situation and I wanted to control this content, I would not take the approach of it being a lie because people can see straight through that. I would take the approach that this is triggering. Yeah. This is, highly offensive. This is, likely to incite more violence. These are the reasons we need to keep this video from being seen. That would be my approach if I was trying to do that. I still don't think they should, but I'm saying that would be my approach. Not the misinformation angle, because we know it's not. It's actual footage. That's what I'm saying. If it was made up by AI, then sure, take it down because it's not true and you're putting fear into people for nothing. But there's also the fact again that look at you go back to the one in the shopping centre, right? Now they haven't been trying to censor that one from what I understand, but look at what we've taken from being aware of that content. We've discovered a fantastic police officer. We've discovered some amazing people who are no longer with us, but now we know their story, and all from that content. Imagine if they censored all of that. We'd never know any of that stuff.
They always seem to use the same narrative. We're doing it for you. Yeah. We're doing it for your safety. Yeah. And that's the biggest lie that can come out. No, you're not doing it for me at all. Because it's not what I want. If you're doing it for me, you'll be going, okay, you can do, you can listen to whatever you want. That's your choice. That's when you'll be doing it for me. None of the rubbish that they're saying now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. If they're really doing it for you, what they should be doing is giving you the correct information and letting you see the difference between what's real and what isn't. Like if they believe they have the truth, then they should push that angle and say, look, you can look at that content all you like, but here's the truth and here's why it's true, rather than just saying, don't look at that content. I always had that belief with kids when they were small. Like you can tell a kid, don't open that door, or you can tell them why they shouldn't open the door. And if you tell them not to open the door, the first thing they want to do is open the door.
Correct.
But if you tell them why, then they're like, gotcha, I'm on it. Right. And this is where the government are getting it all wrong. They're just going, we're doing it for your own benefit. That's not enough of a reason to have this level of censorship. But it's not, like I said, it's not a new thing. The censorship laws changed in 2021 when they expanded the power to do more things in relation to censorship. There were some massive changes in 2021. And you go right back to like 2017, I think it was. And we're not just talking about Australia now in a general scope around the world. I think it was 2017 that Apple removed something like 60 different apps from their Apple phones or banned them from being installed on their Apple phones in China because the Chinese government asked them to remove these particular apps because they were able to access information and use VPNs and things like that to find out what's really going on in the world. And the Chinese government didn't like that. So they said no, I think it was WhatsApp and a band of others. There was about 60 different apps anyway. And the Chinese government said, your iPhones in China can't have this. And Apple just went, well, if we refuse that order, then we won't be selling phones in China. So I guess we'll comply with the order. And they did. And they put a ban on 60 apps on the phone.
Well, what did that presenter on the project say about China? What was it during that?
They're the gold standard.
Yeah. when somebody praises China like that about censorship, you're on the wrong side.
Yeah, one of them said, "Oh, China's got it right," and the other one said, "Yeah, they're the gold standard."
My God, that show! It wasn't the usual host. I don't know who they were.
No,
were they like the weekend show or something?
No idea. I don't watch the show, so I couldn't tell you. But if that
I'll watch it rarely.
If that's not enough, if you can't watch that, then realise what their agenda is on something like the project, then you're obviously not paying attention. You're missing all the nuances that make all the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I fear for us, honestly. The USA are going through really turbulent time at the moment, but they have the Constitution on their side, so their pendulum will swing. It's already on the way back. You can see the changes. A lot of things that were instigated over the last 5, 6 years, 7 years are now starting to swing back. A lot of, just a lot of the issues that they've had are slowly being fixed. We, on the other hand, because we have a crappy constitution for our free speech, that pendulum's going to swing, but it's going to take a very long time for it to come back again because we don't have the constitution behind us to fight it. So if we've got a leftist judge, a leftist judiciary system, we are so screwed.
Yeah.
We are so screwed. We're not going to get out of this. I hope it fixes in my lifetime, which is only maybe about 20 years, 25 years. Sorry, it's not a sad note. but I hope I see it swing back to normality in this country. Because I love this country. And the country I live in now is very different to what I grew up in.
Yeah.
I'm scared to talk to people a lot of the time because I don't want to offend them because they may have pronouns, that type of thing. It's mainly the younger people, like yourself or a couple of my other mates who are wogs, and I love them dearly. I grew up with that, with a term of endearment, we never said it out of malice.
Oh, absolutely.
My mum, who's ethnic, she's now 84. I call her wog to this day. And she's proud. She goes, yeah, I'm a wog,
Yeah.
And we talk about that all the time. And, I got a mate, he's Italian, wog all the time. I always give him heaps about being a wog. And we joke about it. And he calls me names as well. Because we never said it as an offensive thing. Yeah. I don't doubt there was a whole bunch of people that were nasty, you know, and racist, but it wasn't the world that I grew up. We never grew up in a nasty environment like that. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe we had a stronger back spine, or I mean, where else is the spine?
Backbone, you mean?
Backbone, yeah. You know, a stronger backbone. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's because we're Gen X, so
yeah,
we're sort of. That.
No, I'm actually a boomer.
Are you?
I'm a boomer.
Right, I'm out.
I seriously need to change the name to Grumpy Old Man because I'm the grumpy old man. Yeah.
See, I still look at all the different generations, and I feel like Gen X had it right. You know, because we just, I don't know, we're quieter. When we say something, it has more poise and more meaning, but we don't say a lot unless we're really pushed to say something.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of us walking around with an opinion.
Yeah, I think it fell apart at millennials.
Yeah.
That's when it started falling apart.
And look, that's not to say they're all the same. I know some amazing millennials. And
of course, that's not everybody.
If you covered your eyes, you'd swear they were Gen X because you know the way they talk and the way they see things. Because the early millennials were a lot closer to Gen X. It's not like a switch. The generations. It's not like it's suddenly just, you know, you were born this year and then someone was born that year, so you're complete polar opposites. It doesn't work like that. It's a graduation from one to another, like a scale.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
you also have, as you get older, your policies tend to change.
Yeah.
One of the big things is because you have a family, you have children, and all of a sudden you start thinking differently.
Yeah.
One of the things is, I think the stats was something like 36%. Look it up, leave a comment if you find the exact stat. I can't remember. It was about 36% of Liberals, they end up becoming Conservatives. And Liberals in the old progressives become Conservatives because they end up with families. So all of a sudden they care about, okay, their rights, you know.
Yeah.
They don't want them to be, you know, whatever.
Well, that's the thing, is I think youth is a big player in a lot of these things. Like even, you know, as you said, you know, when you're younger, you're not paying any attention to politics. Like you can ask a 20-year-old, most of them wouldn't know who the Prime Minister was, you know, but they certainly wouldn't know what party was in power. It's like, what do you mean party? You mean like at my place party? What? They got no idea, you know.
Yeah.
So I think age plays a big factor as well as the generations.
Absolutely.
You know?
I'm very different to what I was 5 years ago because I was a staunch Labor supporter, and I was a single man at that stage. I have a partner and a kid, and I looked at things very differently back then. I was part of the generation that went out and protested for gay rights, for equality, and for marriage as well. I was in WA at that stage, so it was all about Indigenous rights during the 80s there in WA as well. And it's been the last 5-6 years that I've actually moved to conservatism because my life has changed. I now have a family. I also have different views at how the world has changed, and because I've become aware of what's happening. 5 years ago, all I did was, I was one of those people we mentioned earlier that reads the headlines and that was it. So I wasn't a Trump fan. I supported, who was it? Quite a number of the Labor, in fact, all of them, all the Labor Prime Ministers. Didn't like the Liberals. I thought they were dumb, how dumb I was. And now I look back at it and I think, oh God, I was so naive because I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
So because of my age as well as my situation changed, I looked at the world differently and I started analysing the world differently. Different things became very important to me.
Yeah. I think you'd still advocate for the same things. Like I think, you know, I've known you for over 15 years, 17 years, 16 years, something like that. And
long time.
Yeah.
Before I became grumpy.
Yeah, when you were non-grumpy, when you were passive.
Yeah, passive,
Greg.
yeah.
But you would still stand for the same sort of values. Like you would probably still stand for gay marriage. You would probably still stand for all those sorts of things. So, so when you say that you become more, you know, conservative, I know that you're not referring to those sorts of things because I know you well enough.
Yeah, exactly. Those things I mentioned didn't go away.
Correct.
what happened was I expanded my views, and a few of the things did change, but the things that I believed in, like the rights,
the fundamentals,
are still there.
Yep.
I'm still pro-choice.
Yep.
You know, and a whole bunch of other things. And get ready for this. Sorry, Mum, but I'm also agnostic. My mother's very religious, so I'm so dead.
You need to cut that out.
I'm about to find out if she's right or not.
Yeah, you're about to find out if your mum actually watches the show or
That's
just
right.
says, "Oh, good job, Craig."
When she hears this and she kills me, I'll quickly find out if she was right or wrong. But yeah, so I have a lot of, I wouldn't say progressive, but a lot of left of views. This is why I keep saying I'm more centrist leaning right than I am, as everyone would call now, a far right person, because there's no right anymore. It's all far
middle right anymore.
Yeah, far right or far left. So I still, like you said, none of those views have gone away, especially the industry that I grew up with. I used to be a DJ, so I was around a lot of different types of people all the time. And I did that for over 20 years. So I was always around heaps of different people. And I loved them all.
Yeah.
And that's none of that has changed.
Yeah,
There's no reason
that's
why
right.
it should change.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so how was that?
Well, there you go, eh?
Shall we lighten the mood now and get into some entertainment? Unless there's a couple of things that we kind of need to mention before we
I think
go on to a different topic.
I think I've said everything I want to say on the topic. All I can say is just keep an eye on this space, because, like so many other things, the government are using this as an opportunity to roll out a few more rules and laws. And they're not right now. They're just enforcing the laws that they've got. But don't be surprised if off the back of this there's a couple more. Yeah, because that's how they work. You watch that space. You can pay attention. If worse comes to worse, in 5 years we might not be able to have this type of conversation. Correct. Yeah. Correct. And there's so many rules with YouTube now as it is. Yeah. We've already got to be careful. And the rules are so vague that they can ping you for anything. Yep. You can be demonetised, not that we're monetised at the moment. You can be demonetised for virtually anything with such a vague rule that how do you fight it? You can't fight it. No, that's right. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And we're on Rumble as well, and occasionally on X. So we're trying to get out there, and the great thing is Rumble is a free platform, so we're pretty confident, but we don't get the coverage or the exposure that we do on YouTube. So sadly, YouTube still has to be, an essential part of our exposure. Yeah. Well, we've got some, we've got some interesting things lined up. We're trying to line up for the future that will make a bit of a difference there. Absolutely. We're trying to get some guests to come in as well. So hopefully in the next few weeks, we're working on it. We've got a couple of people we want to get on the show, and we've already been actively giving them shit on as many platforms as possible, so we get noticed, and hopefully they come and have a chat to us. Our people reached out to Biden and Trump, and we don't have any people, but Biden said he'd come on the show as long as there's ice cream. That's right. And someone's hair to sniff. So that's you out. He's going to wander next door anyway. He's like one of those Roomba machines. Oh my God! He did a couple campaign trips over the weekend. That was disastrous. How was that one of the where he? I still think he walked away with the counter display, didn't he? I feel like. Where was he? I don't know where he was. What did Trump visit? He visited, was it Chick-fil-A or something in the US? I don't know. Yeah, because Trump always does these impromptu visits to a restaurant or cafe or whatever. He just drops in. He must drive his Secret Service nuts. Yeah. That's another topic. They're trying to take the Secret Service away from him at the moment. Anyway, that's another episode. Another episode, yeah. So, he wanders all the time into these places. And there's always hundreds of people that would gather all of a sudden because they see it and they turn up, they're cheering him, 4 more years and all that type of thing. Yeah. And Biden, you got to So when Trump does it, it's usually unscripted and it's just a spur of the moment thing where he just decides, you know what, I'm going to do this. Yeah. So the Biden team decided that they would try to do the same thing, but it was all scripted and staged. So I'm not sure what the establishment was. Do you know what the establishment was? It was basically it was a small, like what we would in Australia would call like a takeaway donut sort of shop in the lobby of a building in America. And he walked up and he pretended that he had just walked on in to get a salad roll or something. The thing was already made.
Found it.
You found it?
Yeah.
The thing's already made, ready for him.
Yeah.
And there's footage of a couple of minutes before where the person that works there is saying, "Oh, just make sure you got this ready and got that ready, and someone give me a drink to give to her." And so this was all staged.
Well, I've got it set up here, so...
But I was just going to say, just keep an eye on this though, and let me know if I'm right. Leave a comment below. When he puts the roll down, it's in a box. Now, when you go into a service station here, which what do they call them in the States? It's still called a service station? I don't know. It's our petrol station here where we get fuel.
These days it's self-service station.
but I'm just talking about your typical fuel when you go to get fuel. And we have displays on the counter full of chocolate bars.
Like Krispy
and
Kreme has little box displays.
And muesli bars and stuff like that. And it looks like he puts it in a box of the display and then walks away with it. Watch and see.
This is 2 minutes and it's hilarious. It's just... it sums up so much.
When you know that it's staged, that's when it's hysterical.
Yeah. The man's barely walking. Look at him.
How you doing, man? How are you doing today? No pleasure. It's a pleasure to meet both of you. This is for you, ma'am. And this is for you, sir. All right. And this is a tip for you. I know it's all been paid. Thank you so much. Do you mind for you? Thank you, sir. What's your name? My name is David Johnson. Good to see you, David. Thank you, sir. You know Her Honor the Mayor. Oh. How are you, David? I'm fine, yourself. I voted for both of you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I got to check out one thing. What kind of drinks do you have?
So whatever you like, sir, we can customize it to your specifications. So we have smoothies, we have
He's pulling apart.
refreshers. We also
How
have
about a milkshake? Black and white.
a black and white milkshake. We could perfectly make that for you, sir. So if you actually like to, right over there where it says order here, you can order it to your specification again. That includes whipped cream and other toppings as well.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
See
Thank you
the
so
box.
much. Mr. President, I'm going to pick up a few pounds here.
Unless that's someone's lunch orders, I don't know. But why would he be picking it up? He just walks away with the whole counter display.
He brought over the tip but didn't pay for it.
And then he's got to go to the end of the counter to order a milkshake. And he's like, bye. Bye. Oh.
What a disaster.
I'm sure everyone behind the counter is going, where's he going? He's walked off. Oh.
Actually, it's get back to it. He kind of just wanders off.
He does. He wanders right off away from where he's supposed to go and order his milkshake.
Where is he? He's totally lost.
He's gone behind the... I think he's behind the pillar or he's about to go behind the pillar.
Is that one of those like supermarkets and they've got like, you know, those little donut
it's like a
places
little...
in the middle?
Like a little... Yeah. I think it looks like more like a Subway sandwich kind of place.
Oh, he's wandered off somewhere.
But like, unless he's down there to pick up everybody's lunch order, I don't know why he walked away with that great big box of stuff. So, but anyway, there you go.
No idea. I don't think anyone knows, to be quite honest.
So he's trying to make it look like it was, you know, improv, and it wasn't.
That's right.
It was just.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've actually seen the footage of him just before he turns up, and you mentioned it earlier. And there's a piece where they're actually giving him the
money to give to him. Yeah, correct. Yeah,
they're giving him the tip.
Totally staged.
I mean, it was so spontaneous that he walked around the corner ready with the tip in his hand.
I reckon they said to him, "Now, when you get up there, I don't know, maybe ask him to make you a milkshake or something."
Yeah.
Because then he said, "I've got one last thing that I'm supposed to do. Can I have
I don't know what it is.
What drinks have you got?"
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, what can you say? I mean, every time I refer to him on my X page, I call him a turnip. So, and what I say, the turnip sounds so weak.
Yeah,
he's falling apart.
I feel like I've said countless times. I feel more sorry for him than anything
I
else.
agree.
Just put him back in. Let him go.
Retire him.
Play golf.
Yeah.
Put him in a home. Well, not
I
necessarily
seriously
home,
wish
but,
him well. put him into
Yeah,
retirement,
just-
let him relax the rest of his life,
know,
and that's it.
He's got a lot of things in his past that he really should have atoned for.
Yeah.
But, he's just a puppet. We know he's a puppet every day.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we've gone overtime actually.
Have we?
Yeah, we've
Oh.
gone our show.
Well, we can't tease people with the chat about Abigail and not say anything. So let's
we do it?
Do a quick run.
Yeah,
through
we'll
that.
give them an extra 10 minutes.
Yeah.
This is our bonus segment. We've
Yeah.
just decided. So
This is for our. I
Yeah.
nearly said for our OnlyFans. This is for our Patreons.
Does that mean I have to set up a Patreon account very quickly?
Or an OnlyFans
Yeah.
account, whatever works best for you, mate.
Yeah. Well, if you'd seen some of our previous shows, you would have seen us play the preview for, what was it, Abigail. Yeah. I'd never heard of it until you brought it up, because I don't watch horror movies. I can't handle them. And like I said, in that episode, it's not the blood and gore, because that's fine with me. It's actually the suspense, the build up to an event and the
jump scares and stuff.
The jump scares. Annabelle wasn't what I expected. Now,
Abigail,
we had a democracy amongst ourselves. You and I went with our partners, so 4 of us went to local cinema, and we booked tickets.
Yep.
And there was us 4, and what was it? Another
There was
3.
Was
three
it 2
people?
or 3 people
I
in the
think there
whole
was 3
cinema?
people. Yeah, because when I booked online, there was one row of about 7 people. They didn't turn up, or they're permanently booked out for some reason. They weren't there.
Oh, yeah.
They were supposed to be to our left, and the people that were there were behind us.
Those seats were for Biden, but he got lost.
He went to see Civil War, and he went, "Oh, new documentary."
Yeah. Oh no, they're onto us, man.
and there was literally 7 of us in the cinema.
Yeah.
And this was a Saturday night.
I know. So I couldn't believe it's dismal. But then people are saying that's what it's like on a Saturday night at that particular cinema. So
Well, Vicky,
surprising.
Fill us in. What did you think about it?
I thought it was okay. I don't mind that stuff. So I wasn't expecting miracles. Like you've got your classics like The Omen and
Blair's Witch.
Yeah, Blair's Witch was a good one. That's a classic. So they're sort of Poltergeist.
Yeah, even Poltergeist.
You could probably name half a dozen movies, The Exorcist, that have stood the test of time because they're just such powerful, theme and good graphics, and they're ahead of their time and what have you. So they're iconic movies.
To me,
Amityville Horror.
Amityville Horror, like you said, Exorcist, The Omen. To me, they're horror movies.
Yeah. So is this one of them? No.
No.
But was it a good cheesy? The different spin was the story, I think, because we've seen so many vampire movies, like and they all. It's the same thing. Can it die from a steak? Can it die from garlic? The usual, At least they didn't have him sparkly. And yes, I hate Twilight. So.
They actually mentioned it. They did mention it because a couple of things that they thought would happen didn't happen. So it was a bit. I liked it because it was more action than it was horror.
Correct.
I've got to admit, a couple of times I jumped out of my seat and I saw you leaning over and checking on me. Hey, Grumpy, you okay there over there? I was like, we had our partners in the middle.
I was expecting to see you hiding behind your girlfriend, just going, yes,
it was
help me.
Close to it.
Yeah.
So, it was very different. So, because, like I said earlier, I can handle blood and gore. That's no problem.
Yeah.
And that's when my partner said to me, "Oh, but you like zombie movies." But they're always action movies.
Yeah,
they're not really horror movies.
Blood and guts horror.
Yeah. Blair Witch was one of the movies that really screwed my head for years because it was so psychological.
Yeah.
Annabelle.
That was me with The Exorcist. The Exorcist still screws with my head. I struggle to sit through the whole movie. And I can watch just about anything. That's one of the very few movies I struggle with.
Yeah.
Especially the director's cut. It's like pretty full on. But I think it was still fun to watch.
Yeah. I think it was a movie I would recommend, but wait until it comes out.
Yeah, in fact, that's exactly what I said to my wife. I said, look, it was a decent movie, but would I waste $25 a ticket on the big screen? No. Don't do it. Save your money. Wait till it comes out on a streaming service.
And you enjoy it.
It's still great.
Yeah. There was a couple of dumb things in it that I didn't quite understand. And it's in the previews. She's a ballerina. And I mentioned to you when we came out of the movie, that when she got on the banister, she started doing her attacking, and she's incorporating some ballerina moves in it, pirouettes or whatever they call.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that.
And I thought they were dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. She's a vampire, so she's probably got really good balance.
Yeah. You know the character who played that really doped up guy?
The one that... Oh, I won't say he died first because that'd be a spoiler. But the one, I know the one with the scar on his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, had the really short hair. And he wasn't the professional.
He was the driver.
That's right, yeah, the driver. I just found out he actually died in real life.
Oh.
He died in July last year from...
I thought you were going to say in the making of the movie.
No, he died from fentanyl overdose.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
okay.
which is a big issue in the USA.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was a bit shocked when I found out.
Yeah, right.
The irony of him playing a doped up guy, druggie, actually dying in real life.
And then dies in the movie. Wow.
But anyway, yeah, I thought... For me, it was very predictable what was happening. As soon as the scene happened, I thought, okay, this is what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And like I said, there was a couple of times that I jumped. The first time that I jumped, I was expecting something to happen, but it still scared me. That was right, fairly early in the movie.
Yeah.
And we're not going to give away any spoilers because it's still at the cinemas.
Mm.
And the other jump scare wasn't even a horror jump scare. It was just something that happened and scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, because it was an action movie. Annabelle, Blood and Gore, great action movie. Had some great scenes in it.
Yeah. The thing I found that was funny about the blood and guts side of it was that
so much of it.
Yeah, when like if you scoop that all up and put it into a container, it'd be 4 vampires worth of body and blood and guts, and yet so yeah.
And
So
I did, like a lot of movies, they burn and they become in like a husk or the dust, or what's another one? They
age rapidly, like they catch up on their years they've been around.
Crumble, and then what was in Blade? They turned to ash and they just floated away.
Yeah.
This one was very different.
Yeah.
Would it be a spoiler? Would it be a spoiler? Would it?
Well, I would just say that if you like blood and guts, this was a good one for you. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's I would give it 3 pinkies out of 5. Yeah.
3 pinkies. 3 out of 5. Yeah, I'll probably be the same.
Yeah,
3 grumpies.
3 grumpies.
Yeah, 3 grumpies out of 5.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Like I said, go and check it out. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do hit the like button, share the video. We would love your support. We're a brand new channel. We're on episode, I think, 11 now. Mm-hmm. So, we're finding our feet. We're having a lot of fun. This is a great episode. Yeah. Great conversation. One of my favourite topics is censorship, because I hate censorship. So, yeah, please subscribe to the channel. And in the meantime, it's a ciao for me and
a ciao for me.